Hello girls, and welcome to the International House of Nails YouTube channel. Here we're going to be sharing a lot of information. First of all, we're going to start with the basics. In this video we're going to cover nail files, or some people will call them hand files, because we're going to first start talking about hand files, and on the next episode we're going to start speaking about electric nail files, which is a totally different spectrum. Now, first of all, we're going to cover what is a nail file. If you're starting in the nail business, there's a lot of materials, a lot of marketing for a lot of different products, but we have to start from the basics of the business. You have to know what type of nail file you need to use depending on the type of client you have, the type of system, and the type of service. So first of all, we're going to cover what is a nail file. Second, of course, we're going to cover what are the different types of nail files out there in the market and what are their best, and I will give you my recommendations of what I would recommend for you guys to use depending on the type of client you guys have. And of course, then afterwards we're going to talk about the different types of grits and what I would advise you guys to use it for. Different grits are usually going to be used for depending on the type of client. So let's go around and let's talk a little bit about that specific topic of grits, and let's just start. First of all, we're going to start covering the Emery nail files. These nail files you're going to see a lot in stores such as dollar stores, Walmart, and also nail supplies. These are the ones you see. They're generally either black or white. That's usually the color you're going to find them in. These nail files are going to be recommended for professional use, and later on we're going to speak about the different grits. When it comes to Emery nail files, we started seeing them. I don't know if you guys could remember, or if you're young, old enough to remember this, but you used to find them. They were very, very thin, and usually people will be able to grab them in any store, in Walmart and dollar stores and Targets, little stores like that. And a lot of people started using them for personal use. That's one kind of Emery Emery nail files. They were very thin and easy bendable. Now, when it comes to professional use, we have one. They have cardboard in the middle, and they come in different shapes and different sizes. It all depends on the company you go through. I'm going to be leaving recommendations for every type of nail file and shape down below in my description box, but you guys are going to be able to see them, and just click on them, browse them. If you do have any questions, you're going to find my email down below as well, and my social media, so you guys can contact me at any point. So when it comes to these nail files, you're going to find different shapes. In the nail market, you're going to find that they usually call them different. You're going to find what we call the banana shape. Some people call it curve nail file. We're going to have the square nail file, and you're going to find it on different widths. It depends on the nail company. They may come a little thinner, and the banana shape also comes a little thinner or a little thicker depending on the company. When it comes to the other shapes, such as we call it mixed, this one has a triangled shape with oval tips at the end. This one is mixed because it's neither square, but it's not curved at all either, but it has some shape to it. It's not just one type of shape. You're going to be able to see it as I speak. So that's when it comes to Emery. We're going to start talking about glass or crystal nail files. These nail files are mostly for personal use, but I would recommend them for people that have that do their own nail care at home. If you pretty much, you file your nails at home, this is the file that I would recommend. It's less aggressive, it's easier to use for personal use, and it will be easier for you to keep your nails up at home. This nail file has a lot of pros to it. First of all, it would allow you to sanitize it completely. It's one of the only nail file that can be sanitized completely. And also, it is very durable. It even has a longer use than Emery nail files that we mentioned before. So you're going to be able to use these for a more prolonged time, for a larger span of time, and you're going to be able to take more of an approach with more sensitivity for the natural nail. They're very recommended for natural nail use. So now we're going to talk about the different grits of nail files in the market. I know it's very confusing. I know there's a lot of information, a lot of marketing, and people don't teach you how to use every different type of product that's out there. Most of these products have a use, have a purpose, and it's important for you to know before you get into the business. First of all, we're going to start from the lowest grit to the highest grit. Now, you're going to find that normally they're going to start from an 80 grit file, and it can go up to a 280, and I've heard of even some nail files that go up to 2,000 grits. So it's just it's amazing the variety that we have. Now, when we start with the 80 grit, the lowest number is going to be the most coarse nail file that you will find. The higher the number, it's going to be smoother. And you're going to see that when at some point the nail file is going to get to a number where it's actually not a nail file anymore, it's a buffer, or what we call, some people may call it spongy or buffer. It's at the end, it's the same product. Now, first of all, we're going to talk about the 80 grit file. You're going to regularly find it on 80/80, which means that every side is the same grit. The 80/80 nail file is very coarse. I wouldn't recommend for you to use it. Some people just say it's, and professionally speaking, they would recommend it for acrylic nails or gel nails. For me, I wouldn't recommend them. They're very coarse, very aggressive, and they tend to remove a lot of product at once. You may think that because it removes a lot of product at once, that you're basically working faster. But as you learn with nails, as you're starting in the business, you have to be able to control your how much pressure you put on the nail file. And in order to do that, you need a nail file that will help you. An 80/80 grit file is just too aggressive for my taste. I wouldn't recommend it. Then we have our 100 grit nail file. You will either find it as 100 or 100 180. Now, the 100 grit file is the one that I mostly recommend for acrylic nails or for gel nails. This is a very, very helpful grit file. It would help you smooth the surface. You have more control when you're learning. You know how to, you do know that as you handle your nail file, it's very important to do the exercises and to grab the nail correctly. To grab the nail file correctly. If you don't, this is going to lead to a lot of damage when it comes to your hands. So just try to be very careful with, as I said, the type of grit that you pick. When you pick 100, you can either buy 100 grit file or 180. Now, moving to the next grit, if we go on and on and on, there's so many grits. You can go up to 125, 150, 180, 240, 220, 250, 280, and on. It's incredible the difference that we have. Now, all you need to know is that upon you get higher, such as 150, these are the nail files. I would recommend 150 grit file for you to use with natural nails. The grits that I mentioned before, such as 80 and 100, are not to be used on natural nails. These nail files are very coarse and can damage the nail plate. Remember that one of the things that we do besides doing beautiful nails is taking care of the natural nails of the clients. These nail files are so aggressive that what they're going to do is just thin the nail plate, the natural nail plate of your client, and with time they're going to create excessive pain, and because the nail plate is so thin, it's very sensitive to infections. So I would recommend for you to use a nail file that's 150 and up. I would recommend either 150 to 180 grit file to use with a client. Now, when we get to this point of 220, 240, and 280, now we're talking about buffers or sponges, however you call it. Now, these nail files, these buffers, are specifically to remove the lines left by the nail file that you used before. Now with these, it's up to personal preference. You know, as you work with them, you're gonna find which ones work better for you and which ones don't. Now, something you need to know about nail files, besides the grit, besides the shape, and besides the material that you're gonna use, is, and this is going to be a question that I always get in my classes, and a question that I get a lot online is, can you properly sanitize nail files? Emery nail files can be sanitized. They can be sanitized in between clients, but it takes a procedure for you to sanitize, which we're going to cover in another video. We're going to do a full sanitation procedure for every single tool. But first of all, we're going to go through every single tool first and then proceed with sanitation procedures. When it comes to nail files, the ones that I will tell you that can be 100% sanitized are crystal nail files. When it comes to Emery, do remember that in the middle of the nail file you have cardboard. Now, any bacteria that goes into the nail file, if it goes deep enough, it's going to go into that cardboard, and no matter how much you spray alcohol, antiseptic, or whatever you use to disinfect in between clients, you're not going to be able to sanitize it completely. So that's something that you need to keep in mind when it comes to clients. When it comes to nail files, specifically the curved or banana shape, I would easily and specifically recommend it for the cuticle area. As you see here in the picture, it has a curved shape, so it helps you to work around the cuticle. Another recommendation I would give you is, if you have a client that has a very sensitive cuticle that easily bleeds, I would recommend you to use a 125 to 180 grit file in the cuticle area to pretty much finish that area up. It would allow you to work a little bit easier, and of course to prevent any type of bleeding or discomfort on the client. We have a tendency now of a new nail file that has been in the media and in some of the brands. It's called a metal nail file. You pretty much get a metal file, and you just have to put a refill in it. Now, I haven't tested it, and it's on its way. I will be doing a review for you guys on that type of nail file to see how it works, how durable it is, and if any of you have used it, leave me a comment and let me know what would you recommend, or what brand would you like me to review, and see how it works. Thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this content, please subscribe and turn on your notifications for this and for this channel, so that every time that I upload, I'm going to be uploading videos approximately 2 to 3 times a week, and we're going to continue on this topic. So please subscribe, leave a comment below, send messages, follow me on my other social media if you have any questions or concerns. I'm here to answer any of your questions. So thank you very much for watching, and we will see you on the next episode.